As an artist, it's normal to go through phases. It's what keeps your music fresh, and it also gives your music a personality. But sometimes in certain eras of your career, it's just not hitting, or something happens that it just doesn't work out. That's what we're about to be going over today in the video. Today we're going to go over some underground artists' worst and best eras of their career. And to kick it off, we're going to start off with Nettspend. Nettspend was kind of going crazy late 2023, early 2024 when he was going on tour with Yapo JJ, he went on tour with Osamason, and he was overall getting a lot of love from the underground scene. He dropped some of his biggest songs to this date during this era too, those being 2024 Freestyle, Drink, and We Not Like You. And as we were moving along in 2024, he was starting to build up to his debut album, Badass Fucking Kid. So during this era, everything was looking pretty good for Nettspend. He got a Lyrical Lemonade video, he was performing at Rolling Loud, and he had a really strong fan base that was looking forward to his debut album. Also during this time, he was getting some decent cosign. The one I remember most during this time was actually Lucky. Like, even when the album dropped, Lucky was posting his favorite songs. Like, I don't even understand how that even came about, but he was getting some pretty big cosign. But then it's also around this time where he actually signed to his current record label, which is Interscope, Grade A Productions. And I feel like right around this time is kind of where we get to Nettspend's worst era. That being after BFK dropped and currently right now. I want y'all to remember, when Nettspend was really first coming up, he was known for like jerk rap. He was known for like being around Xavier So Bass, Osamason, and he was really involved in the underground scene. And some of the snippets that he previewed for BAFK had people insanely hyped. Some being Slut Truck, Kevin Gates, and California Crazy. But when BAFK actually dropped, it had virtually no jerk rap, and most of the snippets that people were waiting for were not on the album. It featured like a completely different direction than I thought Nettspend was even gonna go for. It was a lot more rage oriented, and it had a lot of production from OK. And we knew OK was executively producing two of the biggest albums of that year, being Jump Out and BAFK. But in terms on the Nettspend side, we wanted to see a lot more diversity, because Nettspend is connected with tons of producers, especially at that time. He had heavy connections to Xavier So Bass, so he could easily get some pretty good jerk producers. So that led to people being really disappointed by the entire album as a whole. Since then, he went on tour, which the tour was pretty successful. It had a lot of memes to it, so I guess that kind of boosted public perception in Nettspend. And then he dropped a really good song with Xavier So Bass. But since then, he really only dropped like 2 songs throughout all of 2025, and he's been teasing his next album, Early Life Crisis, for basically the entire year. And he's been doing more like fashion appearances, like he's been modeling, he's been making appearances with big names, like models, with big rappers too, like Lil Yachty. And then he had a beef with Fake Mink, which is one of the fastest rising stars in a very long time. And then he had a beef with OK, which was the executive producer for BAFK, so that kind of ruined things again. And right now we're about to end off 2025 with no release date for Early Life Crisis, and people are dying for new music from Nettspend. So I think that's enough to definitely call this one of Nettspend's worst eras so far. But I still do have a lot of hope, because the recent snippets that he put out for Early Life Crisis give me a lot of hope. Like, they sound really, really good, if I'm being honest. So really, I can only hope that this album changes the way how the public sees him, and that it's really good, and that he'll have a way better year in 2025. Hopefully actually dropping music, because it's cool that he's getting his name out there in the fashion scene and whatnot, but he blew up from being a rapper, not from being a model. But yeah, that's it for Nettspend. Let's move on to the next rapper. Next up, we got Osamason. Now, I'd say Osamason has a lot of good eras, like tons of good eras. But if I had to say one that triumphs them all, I would probably say it was the lead up and release of Flex Music. To this day, a lot of Osamason fans still think that that's one of his best albums he ever made, or even his best album that he's ever made. And to be completely honest, it's not that hard to see why. He was very diverse on that project, and it was also one of his longest tapes, and it probably got him the most recognition in the underground scene. Also on this tour, we got the legendary duo of Osamason and Nettspend, which fans still want back to this day. Now, nostalgia could play a heavy factor in why I think that this is one of Osamason's best eras, and maybe you guys might think differently than me, but I feel like I make a very strong case on why this is Osamason's best ever era. Osamason even went on stream with Bruce Drop 'Em Off, which it's not the first time that an underground rapper has been on stream with another streamer or anything. But Osamason easily had the most hype of any underground rapper at this time, and even still now. And this is the only streamer he's ever been on stream with, like, officially. He could have been on Platboy Max's stream the second time, but due to leaks, that just didn't happen. And speaking of leaks, that's where we move on to Osamason's worst era. Now, I would say Osamason's worst era easily, like no debate, is his jump out era leading up to Psychotic. And it's not because he did anything wrong or that his music was bad. I like Jump Out, and it's probably one of my favorite albums of this year and Osamason in general. Even Psychotic too. Psychotic is not a bad album. It's nothing that Osamason did, it's more what the fan base did. During this era, Osamason was seeing crazy leaks. Leading up to Jump Out, they just kept on leaking songs, making the project worse than what it could have been. Not saying that Jump Out is a bad album or even a bad project, it's just due to so many leaks, it literally could have been 10 times better. At one point, they even leaked a tape from Osamason and another female. They made a shirt about it, they were making posters about it, and Osamason was just going viral on Twitter for all the wrong reasons. And then leading up to Psychotic, they leaked like 1,000 songs. Granted, none of them were actually from Psychotic, but like there was literally thousands of songs from the Flex Music era, from the Jump Out era, features with Nettspend we never heard before. Like they were just leaking everything about Osamason. They even leaked another tape. They leaked so much stuff that basically became what Osamason was known for at that brief moment. None of his music, it was just how much he was getting leaked. Even when we were getting closer to Psychotic, they were still leaking a few of Osamason's songs. But Osamason's team actually ended up using CDs from preventing the entire project being leaked. But it's just crazy that that's the length that an artist has to go to. Going back all the way to CDs, they couldn't even have the music on their phone or on a laptop or on FL. They had to make CDs just to prevent their own music from getting leaked. And that's why I'd say that this is probably the worst era for Osamason. Not in terms of music, but just as an artist and the mental strain that must have took on him, this is easily one of his worst eras. But since then, really there hasn't been that many Osamason leaks, maybe one or two here and there, but I feel like his team finally got control of everything that's going on. But yeah, that's it for Osamason, and let's move on to the next one. Next up, we're actually gonna be talking about Nine Vicious. Now I know that Nine is a really controversial rapper, like he has a lot of things that really I don't agree with, and none of you guys should agree with too, but he does make good music, and that's what I'm gonna cover right now. Now I'd say Nine has two really good eras. I'd say his first good era is when he was initially coming up, because people were just really fucking with his music. Now he did have heavy clone allegations, people comparing him to Young Thug, but I feel like every single underground rapper, when they're initially coming up, gets clone allegations. But people were just really fucking with Nine as a person. He was showing a lot of love to his fans, and he just seemed like a really good dude. And currently I feel like Nine is in a really good spot, mainly because of his music, because people are really anticipating his next album, Emotion. That's one thing I'll always defend. You could say whatever you want about Nine as a person. I don't agree with majority of his actions, so critique him as you want, but he does make really, really good music. But now on to his worst eras. It's definitely gonna be pre-Tumblr music and a little bit before Emotions as well. Nine was having a lot of hype towards his next project, Tumblr music, but then it came out that he had some questionable allegations. Basically, he was being called an EDP, and if you guys don't know what that means, go look it up. So he was getting tons and tons of hate for this, understandably so, because no one should be defending those type of actions. And basically his response to all of that was dropping a song, and the song was trash, and he was like admitting to everything he did, which is like, I'd say one of the worst ways I've seen anyone in like any spot of fame respond to an allegation, especially in the underground scene. I don't know who on his team or who around him told him that was a good idea, but I guess, man. And I'd say his other worst era is like kind of before his latest album, FN, and kind of right now too. And it's mainly because of the beefs he's getting himself into. It's like he just can't stop dissing every single rapper. Regardless if they do anything to him first, he's always dissing a rapper on his snippet or on an unreleased song, and he openly previews it on his own page. So I mean, he kind of knows what he's doing, but like, this is not the way to market yourself. Before his latest album, he was dissing Uzi, then he actually changed the lyric right before the album released, and then Uzi went on live. That led to that infamous Thug tweet that was like, Nine and Uzi, please call me. Like, that became a huge meme. And then his second most recent diss was to Laserdem 700, the guy who like raps on those crazy 808 beats. And like, I don't know why he would even do this, because Laserdem stays out the way most of the time. Yes, he makes like some repetitive music. Say what you want about his music, but Laserdem doesn't really hate on anybody. He actually shows a lot of support to a lot of artists. But basically, in a recently put out song by Nine Vicious, he said that Laserdem had one hit, and then that got signed to Laserdem, and then Laserdem went on live calling 9 basically a girl because of how he dresses and whatnot. Basically, I feel like this whole thing could have been avoided because I feel like 9 and Laserdem are in nowhere near the same lane. Like, yes, they're both underground artists, but 9 is in a completely different lane in terms of hype and the support he has around him. Laserdem kind of already had his time, and I'm not saying that he fell off, but he definitely does not have the same numbers as he used to, or the same amount of support as he used to. I definitely don't see why these two even crossed paths, and I don't think that this is going to amount to anything huge, but I just feel like 9 really needs to chill out on the dissing people, because 9 is going to have his supporters regardless. He keeps on making good music, so people are going to fuck with him because of that. He does not need to be dissing Laserdem 700. But yeah, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think of it. Like and subscribe, and comment what type of videos you guys want to see in the future, and what artists you think I should have included in this video. Also, go follow my IG. I linked that in my bio and in the description of this video. So I want to start interacting with you guys over there. And I'm also thinking about making a Discord server. Let me know what you guys think of that. And if you guys do make Discord servers, let me know too, because you guys could be modding that and help me with making that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Love you guys. Thank you for all the support, and I'll see you on the next one.